You look at me like that. I love you. Of course.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the City of Benton Harbor Commission meeting to order. I'd like to begin with invocation by Pastor Kenneth Robinson, Second Missionary Baptist Church, and the Pledge of Allegiance by our veteran who is present today, Mr.
Ron Gilson.
Ron Gilson. All right.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful tonight for the opportunity to come. And first of all, thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We're grateful for our lives, our health, our strength, for your provision and your protection throughout the pandemic and beyond. Now, Heavenly Father, we're asking your blessings on this commission meeting this evening, that all things will be able to be done decently and in order, that the business of our city might be able to go forward. Bless our efforts and keep our secret intentions good as our prayer. In your name we ask it all. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yield to the city clerk for roll call.
Commissioner Clark Griffin. Present. Commissioner Henderson. Present. Commissioner Henry.
Present.
Commissioner Isom.
Present.
Commissioner Kennard.
Present.
Commissioner Singleton.
Present.
Commissioner Warren. Present. Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Present.
Mayor Mohammed.
Present.
You have a quorum.
This brings us to the approval of minutes, regular minutes, April 1, 2024. Is there a motion for the approval?
Motion to approve.
Motion is made by Commissioner Isom. Is there support? It is supported by Commissioner Henderson. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Isom.
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to approval of accounts payable listing. Is there a motion for the approval? Motion is made by Commissioner Henderson. Is there support?
Support.
It is supported by Commissioner Singleton. Is there discussion? Chair recognizes Third Ward Commissioner Henry.
Yes, I did give a few inquiries about the AP list. Mr. Hildebrand did respond, and I would like for my colleagues to pay attention to the attorneys and the engineering invoices and vouchers together. It's an interesting scenario that happens when they don't align. So I just need somebody to pay attention to what's going on. And seems like we never get a report if there is an accident. We just get the bill, and somehow through our chair and personnel and finance, I wish that would change, so we'll know what's going on. Thank you.
Duly noted. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
It's on paying the bills?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Isom.
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is a presentation from one of our great partners. The state of Michigan would like to recognize EGLE, Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy. You got the floor.
take middle then. Thanks.
And please, use the microphone. This is being shown on YouTube and social media.
Okay, can you hear me? Very good. Well, good evening, commissioners. Appreciate giving us the opportunity to be here tonight to talk about the water system. My name is Mike Balf. I'm the Drinking Water Engineering Section Manager within the Drinking Water Division. And we're here tonight because we understand the commission has a number of questions about the water system that you would like us to address. So we're going to give it a shot to try to provide some information. We only have a few minutes here, but we hope to provide the information you're looking for, and thinking probably be best to let us get through the information, and if there's any questions, we'll do those at the end, just to respect the time for the meeting here. Before we get started, I guess we'll kind of introduce ourselves a little bit. Who are we? We work in state government, and sometimes state government can be confusing for us. So just if you're not aware, EGLE's the primary agency that is responsible for environmental regulations in Michigan. And then within the department, our division, the Drinking Water Division, oversees drinking water in the state. So basically the law that we work from is the Safe Drinking Water Act. And there's a large team of us at EGLE that provide oversight and support. Some of us have been involved with the city's water system for quite a few years. I also wanted to mention a couple of teammates that are with me. Aaron Russell is, I guess you could say, our special projects coordinator, who's been involved at Benton Harbor. And then we also have Don Brady, who's our engineering specialist, who's kind of the primary contact with the city. Okay. Also, before we get to the questions, I just wanted to comment on EGLE's mission and commitment here. As the mayor said, we very much view this as a partnership and a team. And so our commitment is to ensure a reliable water supply that meets water quality goals, achieve compliance, and again, that would be with the Safe Drinking Water Act, and achieve a sustainable water supply. The residents deserve to have a lasting solution. We're not here just to do a Band-Aid and move on. So just kind of keep that in mind as I'm going through this information. A couple things to note about the commitment, that sub-bullet there. EGLE has been, just in case you're not aware, we've been meeting with the city's water team every week for, I've lost track, but I'm guessing about 3 years now. With hundreds of water supplies in the state, that's, can be, the resources are tough at times, but we continue to feel it's important to do that. So we continue to meet weekly. We also, our environmental justice public advocate, Regina Strong, who's not here tonight, but she also does monthly update meetings with community partners. All right. Also, as part of the commitment, a number of years ago, been about 3 years too, on the website.
Correct.
We stood up a website dedicated to informing the public about the city's drinking water. So it promotes transparency and includes things like sample results, inspection findings. We get a lot of Freedom of Information Act requests about what's going on in Benton Harbor. Those are on the website. And then, of course, information on lead. So if you're not familiar, you can go out to our website and find that. We also want to point out that it's important to identify the financial support provided thus far to the city, which demonstrates our commitment. The city is currently utilizing a $45 million ARPA grant to fund distribution and water plant projects. And to date, we figure about 20 million of that has been expended. There's certainly more work to be done, But, I think this collaboration should be applauded, and I know Eagle's really thankful for the city's cooperation in getting a lot of this important work done. All right, one more slide, then I'll get to the questions. I also just want to take a second to acknowledge some of the background here. Obviously, in the amount of time I have, it's kind of too lengthy and nuanced to go over in detail. But I just wanted to note that Eagle has been working with the city through a lot of different drinking water related issues. And this includes examples of some positive progress that have been made, as well as a few compliance setbacks. But at least, I've been involved, since at least 2018, and I feel that the city's water system is much better shape now than where we were then. So again, more work to be done, but we're making good progress. All right, so now for the main reason that we're here. The city had provided these questions to us ahead of time, so we've prepared a slide on each of these questions. And so with that, we'll go to the first one. Is the water safe to drink? We get that question a lot. Fair question. So I would say the most fundamental way to answer that or address that question is to compare the city's water quality to the state and federal standards. And again, I mentioned the Safe Drinking Water Act. They have very stringent requirements for the water quality, and you guys monitor for A to Z different possible contaminants. It's not just lead, but there's bacteria, disinfection byproducts. You probably heard of PFAS in the news, heavy metals, all those things. And currently, the city's water meets every one of those. So you're meeting those stringent standards. That's excellent news. Also, that same set of regulations has requirements on the methods for filtering and disinfecting the water, because you're pulling from a surface water source, Lake Michigan. So there's additional requirements, and we look carefully at those every month on the reports that come in, and the city is meeting those requirements as well. So again, that's a great indication of safety. There's no lead service lines anymore. That's a tremendous accomplishment. There's very few communities in the state or country that can say they've gotten rid of all their lead service lines. You've essentially removed the largest source of lead in the water. And so that's a great indicator. And the sampling we're doing at homes now show that. I mean, the levels have been very low. So all those are great indicators. But I also wanted to indicate that it's important to understand our regulatory framework. While it is very protective, it was never intended to eliminate 100% of all risk. So as city officials, I'm sure you guys can appreciate the difficulty in explaining risk to the public, as do we. But let's talk a little bit about what things need to be done to reduce risk. And it's not necessarily limited to this, but one thing is there's a requirement to have a backflow prevention program, which essentially protects against accidental contamination of the water system. That program needs to be improved at the city. So that's one thing that can be done to reduce risk. There's also a number of treatment and water distribution projects that are not currently causing a problem, but if they're not addressed, they could result in future failures. So the point here is, while the water is safe, it's not a set and forget. It's you got to keep up with these improvements and maintenance to keep it that way in the future. Okay, the second question we got is, why do we still need to feed corrosion control treatment? Got rid of all the lead service lines. Why is that necessary? That's a very good question. And to answer it, let's see if my cursor works here. All right, so let's review real quickly where the sources of lead in the drinking water come from. You have your water main right here, which is the large pipe that's usually buried below city streets. And then you have this service line, which is a small pipe that runs from the water main through the property line, usually into the basement of the house. Those are the service lines, and all the lead ones have been removed. So that's where I was saying the major source of lead in the drinking water has been eliminated in the city. However, some homes, not all of them, but some homes may have other sources of lead within their plumbing. Things like old copper plumbing may have lead solder. There are faucets that might have metal alloys that contain a certain percent of lead, as well as galvanized piping. If there used to be a lead service line that served that home, there some of that lead scale could be bound up in that galvanized piping. So to continue to feed the corrosion inhibitor at the plant, it continues to protect those homes that have some of those sources of lead, because it continues to put that coating in there. The other reason is we are bound by the Safe Drinking Water Act as well. So because of the past lead issues, you were triggered to start feeding this corrosion inhibitor, and to stop doing that, there's a big formal process you need to go through. Okay, next question. Why do we need to use the St. Joseph interconnection? So there's both an immediate need and a long-term need for this. The immediate need is the city's storage reservoir out by the water treatment plant is in need of inspection and repairs. And these repairs, we're told, will take a week. Well, it's going to be several weeks to complete. And so in talking to the city's water team, that the water plant will need to be taken out of service in order to complete this work. And so you need to be able to supply water to the residents for that however number of weeks for the inspection and the work to be done. And so in talking to them, the only viable way we have to do this is the connection with St. Joe. Now, some work will have to be done so we can keep the corrosion inhibitor and other chemicals in place. And then in terms of long-term needs, if you recall, a couple of years ago, there was a big transmission main break where the city lost pressure and didn't have water. So if you have a connection like this, it'll allow you to have a backup supply if something like that happens again in the future, or if there's planned maintenance. And a lot of communities in the state have these emergency interconnections. Okay, and then the last question that we received is, this relates to the alternatives study that was done. Why is further analysis of alternatives necessary? And as I mentioned earlier, Eagle's committed to a sustainable solution, a lasting solution. And so the study that was done and submitted to Eagle had identified some pretty substantial financial gaps, $2 to $3 million a year or something. And that plan did not, or the study did not have a viable plan to address those gaps. And so, we're not doing our job if we were to accept something like that, because it doesn't have like a roadmap to get that financial capacity back in place. And then we also, in reviewing that, we had some questions about the methods and assumptions that were used to arrive at what the suggested best option was. And we don't have any, prescribed option that we're looking for. We just want to better understand what those assumptions were, and so we can all get on the same page in terms of what the best option is. And then hopefully when we all agree on the facts, then we can move forward with what the best plan is. Okay, so just to wrap it up, I'm hoping to leave you guys with 3 key points. As I mentioned earlier, the water quality is good. However, we have to keep it that way. And so there's more work to be done to maintain that and to further reduce risk. And then the last one is we just want to get on the same page in terms of that alternative study and where we're going to go. And again, I believe we share the same goal of having a structural fix that will result in a sustainable water system for generations to come. That's what we're shooting for. So I don't Don't know if we have time for questions, but if we do, we're available.
Unless there are no objections, we do have time for questions. Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. The phosphates. If we don't have as many lead lines, why are we using so much still? If we don't have as many lead lines, why are we using the same amount that we're using before? To protect a few homes than having the 1,000 homes or however many other homes were on there before, why are we utilizing the same amount of chemicals? And what does a high amount do to the human body? Thank you.
Okay, so I'll answer the second one first. That's all right. Any treatment additive added to drinking water has to get reviewed and approved by Eagle, and any chemical that's added to the water has to go through a third-party certification process. It's through the NSF. In fact, you'll see NSF labels on a lot of products that plumbing products you might see at the store. And so we make sure that that chemical is third-party certified to be added to drinking water, and that it's fed below the maximum use dosage. And that dosage is the important part. And so that's how we assure that it's safe for use. And then the first question about why do we still need to feed it now that the lead service line's the same level, the dosage is not determined based on how many lead service lines there are. It's just if those lead sources are there, you have to feed at that dosage to maintain the coating on the interior of the plumbing.
My question was because that St. Joe is known to have lead lines, but they don't use it to corrosion control. So how are they getting away with not using the corrosion control, and we're forced to continue, even though they still have, I'm thankful for Home Depot came out and replaced faucets, lines, and everything else that most homeowners couldn't do. But why is one municipality forced to use an agent and another municipality has the same water? I guess it should be controlled by the same stipulations, but they're not required to use these type of chemicals, even though they have lead lines.
Yeah, that's a great question. The key difference is back in 2018 when the lead sampling done here in Benton Harbor, the levels exceeded the lead action level that's in the Safe Drinking Water Act, which is 15 parts per billion. And St. Joe's to this point has not exceeded that. So they haven't hit that regulatory trigger. However, as you probably are aware, the lead action level is being lowered in Michigan and on the federal level. And they are currently, St. Joe, I'm not sure if I'm pointing the right direction here, but they are in the process of doing their own corrosion control study like Benton Harbor has already done. And they have a corrosion control feeds room set up at their plant, and they're fully anticipating, as are we, that they're going to have to start feeding that too. They're just not as far along as Benton Harbor is.
Chair recognizes First Ward Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. I have questions. Some of them you answered. With the corrosion inhibitor, what are exactly the chemicals that's there? And like Commissioner Seat said, one of the reasons why there were some issues with St. Joe and the interconnect was because we have the chemicals and then them having to, shut off to be able to provide those particular chemicals. And you keep saying safe amount. Well, my personal opinion, there's no safe amount of anything that should be in our drinking water. So what are the safe amounts that you keep discussing? And you talked about multiple chemicals besides the corrosion inhibitor. What are the other chemicals that is being placed in our water that's not in other people's water systems?
Well, I don't think you have any chemicals in your water that's not in other. All the treatment chemicals being used in Benton Harbor are widely used throughout the state. Not in every single system, but widely used throughout the state. The specific corrosion inhibitor that's being used in Benton Harbor right now is orthophosphate. If you look on a can of Diet Coke, you'll see, I don't know if it's called phosphoric acid or phosphate, it's the same stuff. So it's in other products. I'm sorry, I forget the other. Oh, the multiple chemicals. There's 2 chemicals if you do the interconnection with St. Joe that we anticipate will need to be set up at the point of connection. One is the phosphate. Now, in time, if St. Joe is feeding the same product at the same level as you guys, maybe that won't be necessary. But if you were to ever bring in, right now, if you were to bring in water from St. Joe, it would be important to get that phosphate injected at that point. Because if you interrupt that, even for a few days, all that lead scale can break loose in the plumbing. So it's important to have a consistent dose. And then the other one is just your disinfectant, your chlorine residual, because that you lose your residual with time as the water kind of ages. So if you're bringing it in from St. Joe, you would want to just boost it a little bit to maintain those levels in the system.
Just a question. So if something were to happen to the city of St. Joseph's distribution system, some natural disaster or something of that sort, who would supply them water?
Well, so if you set up this interconnection,
We already have an interconnect.
right, you could, they do work both ways generally. It does depend on hydraulics. Water pressure's got to work both ways, but a lot of the emergency interconnections we have in the state are intended to work both ways. So you could supply, but this comes down to local agreements too. Do you have agreements in place that, like a mutual aid agreement, where if they needed water, you could open it up?
We have the interconnected agreement. But my question to you is, who would supply them water if their system went down?
Well, Benton Harbor could.
But if Benton Harbor has no water system, then what happens?
If you don't have a water system
Yes.
and they don't have, they may have another, I'm not sure if they have another interconnection to the south of them, but if they don't have any other emergency interconnections and Benton Harbor does not have a water system, if they had a catastrophe, it's whatever they have in storage, and then they would be out of water. That's essentially what would happen.
During that period where we were without water close to 48 hours, we were on the ground and we were working with St. Joseph at that time to establish the connect. And then a call came from Eagle and said, don't do it. Don't give Benton Harbor water. We don't want to change the water source. So that was, it kind of was a cross-eyed view for me, because at that time we really needed to connect and we were instructed to not do so. Could you speak about that?
I can, yes. And that was a difficult decision and an unusual one. But if you recall the timing, that was kind of at the peak of when the high lead levels were happening. And we had just recently gotten the corrosion inhibitor into the system. And we had to make a technical decision, a difficult decision, which is the lesser of the evils, to let the water run out or to bring in water from St. Joe that has no corrosion inhibitor that's going to break all this lead loose and then expose the public to the lead. And we felt the latter was worse. And so we made a decision, not to do that. So we weren't exposing the public to that lead.
Chair recognizes Public Safety Chairperson, Commissioner Singleton.
Sir, do we have to do those inspections and drain up the reservoirs that's gonna have to happen at St. Joseph Plant too, at some point too. And with the connections, we can, most likely they're gonna need some water back from us while they take care of theirs. Is it a timeline on that?
Well, without getting too technical, the reservoirs are typically built with two different cells. And if you need to work on it, like you need to work on yours, the way it's supposed to work is you isolate one half so you can work on one half and still be in service using the other half of it. And then when you get done with the first half, then you switch it over and you work on the second half. So a lot of plants, I can't say off of memory, but it's very likely St. Joe has that capability. So when it comes time for their maintenance, they may not have the same need. Benton Harbor does have a 2-cell reservoir, but we're told that the isolation valve right now is not functional, and that's why the whole plant needs to be shut down for the work. That's why it's critical to get this reservoir work done, just to get that functionality back. But there may be other incidences, either emergencies or some type of maintenance where they may need and call upon the city for that water.
There are no other questions. We will,
One other question, I just wanna.
talking to the mic, please.
Yeah, I just want to clarify what you just said about the valve. So our valve is not working. But otherwise, we would be able to shut off half of it and work with and repair the other one. And our valve is not working. How long has this valve been inoperable? And why hasn't it been replaced?
You're correct, it's your valve. There's basically one valve that separates the two halves of the reservoir. I don't know that the city has record for how long it hasn't been operational. I can't remember if it was our 2018 sanitary survey or the follow-up one in 2021 where we came in and said an inspection needs to be done, because we're asking for inspection records. When did you last get this stuff inspected? And we were told it hadn't been done in a while, so they went ahead, and when they were making preparations for the inspection, I think that's when they determined the valve wasn't working.
So that was either in 18 or 21.
It was January of 22 when they did the inspection.
January 22 is when they did the inspection, and I believe it was around that time that they tried to work that valve and found out that it wasn't working. But in terms of how long it's been like that, I don't know. The city might possibly have some records on that.
Okay, so you're saying that you guys noticed it in 21 or 22?
22 when the
Yeah.
inspection was done.
And
Yes.
has there been any plans to fix it?
Yes, that's what I'm referring to about this, when the plant's gonna be down for, 2 to 3 weeks or something, that's one of the repairs that'll be done, is that valve.
And did I hear you say 2 to 3 weeks?
That's what I'm hearing from the city water team. I don't really know, but I would say that's on par.
All right. Now, I have another question that's completely out. We put fluoride in our water, and it's coming from federal government as well as state government. Can you comment on that? Because our health department is still giving out filters for our lead water. And then the fluoride has been a controversy for years. When I was in California, they stopped doing it. Fluoride. They stopped putting it in a lot of toothpaste. It's a lot of things that fluoride is not being used for now. And I'm asking you, as Eagle, where you stand on that, and the health department still giving out filters to people that have children in the house.
Yep. So First thing to note is there's no state requirement to feed fluoride. The fact that Benton Harbor is feeding fluoride was a local decision.
Really?
Yes. And that's either, it was either a vote or a council vote or a local referendum or something. You'd have to go back in the archives to find that. That being said, the state of Michigan, both Eagle and our Department of Health and Human Services supports water fluoridation. And we have information on our website about how we do that and why we do that. I'm not our fluoride expert per se, but I will say, for young kids with developing teeth, the body of evidence shows, and I understand that's controversial, but that's kind of the state's position. We support it, but we don't require it.
Oh, great. That's good news. Thank you.
Any other comments? Council questions? Chair recognizes Commissioner at Large Isom.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. When they do the interconnect, will they communicate with the residents? Will it be a flow drop in the water, or when they do that, will be no pressure loss? How that work?
Well, a permit will have to be submitted to Eagle for that work. And the consulting engineer that you guys select to do that, we'll be looking at that. We certainly will be looking at that. But you're right, that's one thing, if for this is an interconnection that exists, so I'm assuming this has all been looked at in the past, but we'll look at it again. But if the hydraulics aren't right, where all of a sudden you're not going to have sufficient pressure, then that's not going to be a solution. And so, yes, that is something that we look at. We look at the water quality, we look at the flows and pressures to make sure it's adequate. It may not be as good as your normal water plant, but when it's an emergency or maintenance that you're doing, just kind of like when your water tower was done a few years ago, you had to kind of improvise with how you maintain pressures.
Just one more question. With that corrosion inhibitor, can it make your water turn like an orangey, rusted, not the water, but if you run it, I'm saying, can it turn I had a resident took their filter out and said the filter it's kind of orangey looking. Did that corrosion inhibitor do something to?
I wouldn't associate that with corrosion inhibitor. Orange usually is a signature of iron. So, maybe they live on a street that has an old cast iron water main that maybe has a little bit of rust inside of it. And if it sits overnight, if they have a filter, then over time that can kind of accumulate. But red usually, it doesn't look good, but it's usually iron, which is, not harmful.
Thank you.
So it's not harmful?
Iron. Yeah, iron.
What was the first?
Point of order, please. Mayor Pro Tem Cease.
Did I just hear you say drinking the red water is not harmful? Orange water?
I'm saying iron is, part of a basic vitamin and element. It in and of itself is not harmful. What the situation he's referring to specifically, I can't speak to it without seeing all the information.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henderson.
I just got one last question about cost. So we'll be connecting to St. Joe doing this renovation. What will the cost be to residents?
I don't have that information.
Is there a set price?
There'll be
Charging us? What is the?
There'll be a cost for the construction because there'll be some upgrades that need to be done at that interconnection. So there'll be like a capital cost for that work. And then in terms of the water coming in, that kind of depends on the agreement you have set up. Some communities, if there's a true mutual aid agreement, they won't charge for those types of things. But, you know, that's not something Eagle dictates or regulates, so it kind of comes down to what the two communities have worked out.
Yeah, I would just say in closing, in 2017, I pulled the water quality report of 2015. And it was like a Jekyll and Hyde from 2015 to 2018, in like a 3-year period, which of course led to this explosion where the city of Ben Harbor became the Flint 2.0. Some said Watergate. It was just a lot of publicity on the city. Over, yeah, it's much that can be said. And I say this publicly, that the state's hand is not clean in this whole fiasco. And you weren't here. So you're representing those who were DEQ and et cetera, et cetera. But as I said in Lansing, what has happened is with emergency managers and selling the water lines and cutting contracts, and the city of Ben Harbor at one point pumping out close to 7 million gallons per day, now 1 million per day per emergency management. It's like, you know, knocking somebody's teeth out and then coming back saying that they need to see a dentist, and then handing them the bill. That's how I feel, and I've been through it from 2010 all the way to 2024. And we, you know, are going it alone. And I know for you, it's business. You have to come and be the person to deliver the report and try and nudge us to find some agreement with St. Joseph, which is going to be very interesting. Very interesting, very similar to, you know, the shutdown of the school district, where all of a sudden now we have to consider sending our children to 8 other school districts with no high school. And that didn't work so well, because we found that many of those communities did not want our students. And I would be interested to see how excited the city of St. Joseph is to take on the city of Ben Harbor as a water customer. I have no further to say. Thank you.
Can I make one comment really quick? I would just like to say that when Mr. Mitchell was still the city manager, that there was conversations being had with the city of St. Joe, just in very preliminary, if they would even be interested in helping out Ben Harbor if the water system had to be put down. They said that they had some upgrades that were being done to their plant, and that between December of 2023 and February of 2024, that the work could take place and they would be interested in helping. So I just want to make that known, that just a preliminary conversation had taken place and that they would be willing to do that.
I'm aware of that, but it's a long way
No, I understand.
between the ground and the stirrup with mountain horse.
I understand.
So, but thank you for your optimism. But in a few days, we'll see the realism. Thank you.
Thank you for your interest. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This brings us to our second presentation by City Engineer Abbott Marsh on the city website project tab update.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor.
and city staff. I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly here. We've been working with city staff on adding some information to construction projects ongoing in the city of Benton Harbor. So right now I just have this website up, your City of Benton Harbor website. And working with the city clerk, we were able to add essentially a projects tab on your guys' homepage. And so I think for now, you guys are maxed out on the actual icons you can click on. But if you end up going through the projects tabs, right now we have a couple of links in here that gives you information on the current projects that are under construction. Our goal would be to put future projects on here and maybe even have some past projects on here. But right now, we only have the current projects that are under construction right now. So right there, just real briefly, I'm going to go through, I'll click on some of these links, but I'll show you quickly. We have a map that shows where all your active construction projects are occurring. We have some information on the Main Monroe Street project, where you can find out like the project informational sheet, why the project is being done, what fundings it's being used, who the contractor is. We have project FAQ tabs. That's information for residents and city members to understand like what to expect out there, what to expect when the utilities are being done, how often maybe the utilities are being excavated in front of your property, what to do with your garbage during the project. So there's some information along there that would help somebody out if there's some questions. We also have the detour maps for each phase in the project. So you can click on that and see the detour routing of that specific phase for a project. And then our office is also updating the city staff members, commissioners, and putting weekly updates up there for what has happened and been completed on the project this past week, and maybe what to expect next week if you're, maybe planning an event at your house, or just want to know generally what's happening on the project. So just real quick, the project overview map right now just shows the Green and Edwards project up there at the north limits of the city. It shows the limits of the Division Street and Columbus Street project. The Pipestone resurfacing project that you have going on, and then also the May Street and Monroe Street project. For like an example, a project information sheet for the May Street, it'll list in there the purpose of the project. It really was to replace the existing 4-inch diameter water main to improve, replace with 8-inch, along with storm sewer. So information along the project is listed there. It's going to show another phase map for the project, and it's going to talk about the project schedule. So that's all on here at your fingertips now. It's going to talk about what to expect during traffic maintenance for that specific project. It's going to end up talking about water service work. So some residents might be confused saying, hey, my water service was just replaced. Well, we still got to reconnect it to the new main. So that information's on there, and talks about the shutoff that may occur when contractors are doing that. Talks about sanitary sewer connections, and then also lists contact information for our staff that's generally directly out there in the field, so that they could possibly get contacted by a resident and go check on them immediately. So that would be the project informational sheet. Project FAQs is written to a point like where it might be a question that a resident might have. So what is typically replaced on my street? And it kind of goes into the description of what's going to be done. Well, I have access to my driveway. It says that driveways will be inaccessible for varying lengths depending on where the utility is. So it gives the resident and the property owner some information on maybe what to expect during construction. And our weekly updates generally look like this, where our staff puts it together. We send it to Mr. Little and city staff members, and really just put this on the website. It's the same ones that you guys might all get when we email those out. But just talks about what the contractor did this past week, and what is anticipated moving forward. So we hope that that helps out, and our plan is to populate this as projects occur. We may put a existing project tab, current project tab, and a future project tab on there. And we're playing around with some interactive maps to have all your projects shown on one map. So just look forward to seeing that as things develop, but it will always be here now and be updated as we can.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Jay. I want to thank Evan March and Mr. Little for being transparent about these projects. I caught Holy Hill from Columbus Street residents, and they still calling me mad as hell because the project was done without any information. So this is it's a perfect thing that now that anyone that is computer literate can go on the website and look at these projects, see when they're being worked on and the whole 9 yards. So I appreciate it, and I thank you very much for providing the citizens, well, rather us and the citizens, that kind of information. That's another reason why we should have a newsletter for anyone that is not computer literate or that cannot go on the website and look it up. And that's another reason why we need to have a newsletter to let the people know at their house, delivered to their door, as to what is going on in the city. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is an update by our own County Commissioner, Honorable Manny Yar.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor Mohammed, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Seats, Honorable City Commissioners, and Honorable citizens. This is a beautiful day, for you see, this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Honorable Mayor Mohammed, I thank you for this continued opportunity that you give me to be able to come and talk to our residents. And always on the news and all, it's about voting, about this, about that. And so what I wanted to talk about is we have learned, Berrien County, in just a couple of weeks, that there is going to be second money from the state of Michigan to be able to do that early voting. What they did early in the year, I guess it was considered successful, or we have all these new equipment and stuff and we want to use it. The May vote will not be early, but the vote in August and the vote in November, there will be at least 7 days. It has to be 7 days before, or is it 9? 9 days, at least 9 days before the actual vote, there will be early voting. And just as it was last year in the North County, it will be at Lake Michigan College. In the South County, it will be at the Niles Courthouse. And so people can come there and vote early. There are 2 communities that are doing their own and they're going to continue. And one is Bainbridge and the other one is Benton Charter Township. So they'll have all the equipment and all. And what it came to me, I want to put on your minds, I want you to think about it, is applying for some of these jobs. People that you see working at the polls are not just volunteers, they get paid. And so I talked to our county election clerk, and she told me that Berrien County pays people $15 an hour. And you know the poll opens at 7 a.m. and closes at 8. So they work it. You have to work at least 8 hours. And with working 8 hours, they give you $15 for a per diem to be able to get something to eat. That may not be enough when you think about going to McDonald's and everybody has a story about what the cost was. But that's what Berrien County is doing. And we'll do the same thing when the actual vote is. But then it's up to each community that has the voting, the city, Benton Charter Township, or Waterville, whoever it is, it's for them to set their rate. So they will vary. It's not set by. And then you think about it, people that live in other cities and the hourly rate or the rates are higher, then I'm sure they'll match those. But I'm able to tell you what Berrien County is doing. And so what you need to do, I think that people think about, we're talking about computers, your ability to do it. When you go into the voting, there's someone that just looks at your ID to see that it matches. So that's a job. There's someone that just puts the ballot in the machine or tells you what to do to put it in there and gives you, I voted. And so I see a lot of young people, they're just doing the computer, and you may learn more. There is training and there are jobs. And so I ask you to consider it, because just like everything else, we're short. There are times when we need more help. And what will happen, I think, if you like doing it, and if you're doing a good job, the city or the township where you're working are pleased with you, they'll keep you on the list. And that's something you can do. I especially think about people that are retired or that has the time. And I made this speech to a group, and they told me that the whole family goes and works on the polls. The kids take out of school, you must be 18 years of age or older, and then there's no end of the age. So I wanted to put that on your minds. The Berrien County election clerk phone number is 269-983-7111. And then just ask for the election clerk's office. I think if you asked for the person, if she wasn't there, you wouldn't, get connected. So I wanted to tell you all about that and hope that you will consider it. And maybe you want to fix your kitchen or do something. Thank you, sir. Oh, I thought about it. I have some change of address and election applications. There's one that came in the mail, and I thought it was from the city, but it's not. But it is to city residents, and it's addressed to the city of Benton Harbor. This is what came to my house. But look at this. Everything you get when you go to vote and stuff, turn it over. Because this is what, don't give up. When you get your absentee, I don't know what size it's going to be, but be sure to vote for all the things there are. And then this is what the county did. They gave this to me. Again, it's the same form because we're in Michigan. This is to change your address, or you may be 17 and a half by the time you vote. You're 18, you'll need to fill this out. And then there are great little pamphlets about all the things. And I have extra of these. I'll give them to the clerk, and you all may want a copy of it to be able to explain things to people. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for the presentations today, this evening, and this brings us to the next item on our agenda, the public participation, citizens' comments. There's a 3-minute maximum. You can sign with the city clerk. She will call you according to the list.
Deidre Fields. Bruce Buckray.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Bruce Butker, Grand Rapids. Just a quick comment about the opening of the bids that will be coming in for the mowing contracts. In the past, there wasn't always a member of the city or the cemetery board present, and they should be included in the process of opening the contracts and so forth. I understand until the cemetery board and the city work out the issues, they still should be part of that process. Charter instructs that, so just a reminder. So, thank you.
Mr. Duncan.
Hello. I thought this meeting was going to be about something else. I thought it was going to be something to do with the waterfront. and project being put on the Benton Harbor's end of the river. And I was trying to find out exactly on which end and trying to get an answer, trying to see your maps. We asked that they bring them in where we could see them from the audience, but we can't, and they can't see them on the internet either. So every time somebody comes to show things, it's a waste of time, actually, for me sitting at the back of the room to even see them. So I know what it is for everybody else. Now, my question is, where are we going to, on Benton Harbor land, on the river, on the Pawpaw? Is it the Pawpaw where you're going to be building something, or is it down on the end of across from Whirlpool across Main Street? That's my main question. And if we are going to get some kind of money from the state or wherever we're going to get it from, whoever we're going to partner with, are they planning to buy that side of the land, that parcel of land which belongs to Benton Harbor, our only place on the river? And I know all you guys already know the answer. You could just all say, yeah, they're going to buy it, or no, they're not. But that's not the way this program works, and I know that. But if my opinion, don't sell our land that belongs to the city of Benton Harbor on the river. We have nowhere else. We can't fish where we are right now because of the things what's going on. So if you want an upset brother around here, sell our land on the river, because we don't own any land anywhere on any river, any lake. Now, if I'm wrong, you guys can let me know later on that I'm wrong about it, but I don't think so. Thanks for hearing me out.
No more comments.
This brings us to the consent calendar. Is there a motion for the approval of the consent calendar, or are there items that should be separated?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Chair recognizes Commissioner of the 4th Ward, Clark Griffin.
I'm going to separate 1 and 2.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the approval of the transfer of $800,000 from the ARPA fund to the general fund?
So moved.
Motion is made by Commissioner Singleton. Is there support?
Support.
It's supported by Commissioner Isom. Is there discussion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Okay, so what a lot of people don't know, that I did the UAW audits for about 25, 26 years. And I reached out to some of my friends and did some research. Now, according to the accounting, auditing, and budgeting, ARPA funds cannot be used to be transferred to general fund. But general operations are to provide for general capital needs. ARPA funds will be subject to audit, and units can expectedly be required to repay funds that are not spent in accordance with the restrictions. And it cannot be used for new programs. And I don't have much faith in the city attorney, because I witnessed her allow the mayor to do something that I believe to be illegal, that excluded some of the city commissioners and violated our rights. And the city clerk was aware of it also.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. This transfer of $800,000 is really needed. It'll take the pressure off of City Hall, to put pressure on the citizens to shut their water off. Right now, there was a letter sent out that our water would be cut off if we didn't start paying. And, I came down here on payday, when the check came in and the hall was full. That means people are coming to pay their water bills. And, I go on the webinars all across the country. Some municipalities that have gotten ARPA money have figured it out that they could flip the ARPA money. They'll loan it and they'll get it paid back. It's spent. Now, the money can be rejuvenated over and over and over. It's not like they're just spending it and it goes away. They found a way to turn that money over and over in the community. And I would like to see this project do the same thing. As our residents and businesses start paying the water bills, the sewer, the trash, that money is put back in ARPA and utilized for the purpose of taking care of the people. So there is some wordage, but it's not very strong that we could take the money and pay back ARPA. I would like to see that language very strong and saying that we will and shall pay back ARPA and recycle our money, which that has, I can't remember it ever happened in Benton Harbor before, but other communities are doing it, and I want to see that happen. Right here, we got $900,000 left. Once we spend this $800,000, there's less than $100,000 that we can use for ARPA. That money will go away. Let's recycle the money and keep that ARPA money working for us. And that's all I have to say about the project. I think it's something that needs to be done. We need to be stable. And, but I do want that money to be returned to ARPA. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Kennard.
When I got word of the desire to transfer this $800,000 to our general fund, I said, there it goes again. Now, you know that we have bills and we have everything that we have in the budget from back last year. The finance director that you said that we have is supposed to keep us pinpoint on where our money is for each month that bills are to be paid. This was brought to us on Wednesday at the public safety meeting that would be brought forth to this governing body. But I don't understand, if you knew something was coming up, the money was gonna be asked for this, why didn't you take it to the financial areas of the arm of this government rather than public safety? This had to be done at the last minute. This is the thing that's been done too many times. For one thing, you don't have a finance director. And I wish you all would stop calling Pat Moran a finance director. And I don't feel that this $800,000 should be taken and put into our general fund. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I gotta give the residents some relief. This is the way to give residents relief. Unless we go back and tell them that we need to shut all the water off and try to get as much as you can back as fast as you can, but that's not gonna remedy a real serious problem that we're gonna have. We're gonna have a state of emergency if you do it any other way. I think that it just behooves us to make sure, that we are following. I want to make sure that this is known publicly, that we are following government guidelines with use of this money. If not, you will not be able to spend it, touch it. All this money has to be, as our commissioner said so eloquently, audited. And any misuse of this funds, somebody will find themselves in real trouble. So I want you to just know that the only reason that I support this is to bring some type of relief to the residents. Residents already pay a high amount of water. They already pay a high amount of taxes. They highly unemployed. Half of the people that we're gonna run into problems with, finding out if they wanna buy the medicine, or now even so much shortage in medical coverage, pay a bill or whatever, or grab groceries. So the most we can do is provide some kind of relief to the resident. This is not gonna stop them from having to pay, but this is going to allow everything to continue until the payments get to where they need to be. And then we can be on some sound footing. But if not there, one thing I've often told somebody is, or people don't often tell me why we can't do it. Tell me how we can do it. So we're just saying we can't do it. Just tell us how we can pay the bills that's due. How can we make this remedy right? Or give us another plan to get it done. But if not this way, then what way can we do it? If we don't have another way to do it, then just saying no is irresponsible. Thank you.
I want to read the resolution for the record. Whereas the city of Benton Harbor has, for the last 4 years following the coronavirus pandemic, followed by the lead line replacement process, not been able to collect water, sewer, and refuse bills from citizens. Whereas throughout this period, the city has continued to provide these services and pay the cost of doing so from the city general fund, resulting in a shortage of cash to pay current expenses. Whereas it is anticipated that the city will resume collections in the coming month and begin to improve the cash situation. Whereas the current situation requires that the city commission approve this resolution, now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city commission of the city of Benton Harbor does hereby approve the immediate transfer of $800,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act fund to the general fund to be used for current expenses and bills. So, short story short, the general fund has subsidized and paid what the utility fund failed to do for a number of different reasons. It's hard times. We've had crisis after crisis after crisis. We just heard a presentation where Eagle is talking about the water is safe to drink now. So there's been many challenges in Benton Harbor as it relates to the water system, collection, etc. The American Rescue Plan Act dollars is designed to help communities that have issues with revenue loss. That's where the rescue comes in. So we've had serious issues with revenue loss to our utility fund, that the general fund has shouldered that responsibility so the city can continue to provide the resources that are necessary, still picking up the trash, still keeping the water system going, still paying the workers, still keeping things afloat. So the ARPA funds will allow for us to continue to do that as we begin the process of our collection, withstanding all circumstances. And just to address, it was said that the ARPA funds cannot be used for new projects. The city of Benton Harbor just received $19.6 million in ARPA funds to address sewer lines, water mains, fixed streets, all new projects. The city of Benton Harbor received $32.6 million in and ARPA funds through the state to replace all water lines, new projects. So we are in line with the federal law as it relates to the use of the American Rescue Plan Act dollars. We have been reporting to the federal government since we received it. So we're in good standing with our federal funds. So I just wanted to clear that up. Chair recognizes Personnel Finance Chairman, Commissioner Ison.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. What we have here, so the 800,000, 365,000 of the payables for the general fund, another 386,000 for the utility fund. This is from 318 to 41. Payables that was approved. So basically it's 400,000 for the general fund, 400,000 for the utility fund, and the remaining cash will be for the payables in the next 2 weeks. So the utility funds are still very low. And past due accounts are 30 plus days past due, total over $600,000 of the 1 million utility accounts receivable balance. Just to give you a little sense how low they are, in 2 weeks, in April of 24, only 80,000 have been collected. If you look back in April of 19 and 2019 and 2020, 175,000 used to get collected or double. So we're just not pulling in enough money to keep the utility. We just move the money, general fund, utility fund. So this is going to be almost an ongoing thing for a minute until we get these funds coming in from collections built back up. So that's that. So.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Singleton.
And on the subject of, sounding the alarm, every month, at the Personnel Finance Committee, it's been, talked about, the ongoing, subsidy, where the general fund was subsidizing the utilities fund every month, and got down to where it was, the cash was just short, and hopefully we was gonna catch up, but we haven't. And the reason why I came to public safety, because of the way we got our meetings, we already got some money out there that's due. The next meeting we have is next month. Now you got more bills, so ideally, Personnel Finance Committee, but this alarm had been being sound every month. So we got to this point, and just fortunately, the chair and the co-chair both serve on public safety, but also serve on the personnel finance. But we knew that this was coming. And it came down to those, what do you do? Certainly, I don't think we want to say we ain't not going to pay nobody. I think it's buying us some more time, and hopefully we can get the collections up, get us back in good shape with the utility funds, and where general fund don't have to subsidize. That's where we're at.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
I would ask the attorney if she can work on that verbiage as to make sure that anyone that reads that document, resolution 10 years from now or 5 years from now, understand perfectly that we wanted that money to be replaced in ARPA. And I'm wondering if we can get that done through city attorney, through the chair.
I don't think that's a question of a matter of law, but I will yield to the attorney.
Honorable Mayor, I would say if the commission directs me to, I think you should discuss that, and if you want that language included, we can include that language into the resolution.
So in terms of replacing, the ARPA funds, again, was through the form of a grant from the federal government. So it's not, and then as far as the thing about the ARPA, if the money is not spent by or allocated for a project by October of 2024, which is this year, then the money goes back. It has to be committed. So it's no replacing ARPA funds. You got communities and cities all across the country trying to find ways to either commit it or spend it because it's a grant and it will go back. They've already, in the federal government is waiting to take the money back. So this is a very wise use for the city to use it to repair or at least bring some type of stability to the general fund as we work through the process of collecting and getting back to some normalcy as it relates to our utility fund. And here it is in April. We got May, June, July, and then here we are. So we don't need to be scrambling now at the last minute trying to find a project to just throw the money at. We know this money is going to go into a good cause and it's going to help the city. And most of all, it's going to help the residents, because if the general fund goes belly up, then we can't continue to provide the resources and the services that the residents deserve. So this is not a 311 or a 411. This is a 911. And this is something that we have to do on behalf of those who put us in office to keep this government going, regardless to whom or what. The question has been called for.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
No.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
No.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the second item on the agenda, approval of financial support for the development of the Paw Paw Plaza project. Is there a motion for the approval? Motion is made by Commissioner Henderson, is supported by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Is there discussion? The chair recognizes fourth ward Commissioner Clark Griffin.
So in doing my research today, I was not here when the ARPA funds was first given, the first round of it, July 2021, wasn't even election yet. But the second round I was here, and in doing my research, I came upon an article in the News Talk 95.3, look it up, Michiana News Channel. It said, it was posted, it was on June the 2nd, 2021. It said the city of Benton Harbor will use the first part of ARPA funding, $4,912,382 for residents release, fighting poverty, neighborhood restoration, job training, youth employment, water and waste infrastructure, small business grant, public safety, said by Mayor Marcus Muhammad. Also in that article, it had a proposed list of consideration as outlining what the money was gonna be used for. I'm just gonna name a few because it's a long, long list. It said resident relief, $1,560,000. So that's some relief. It said utility assistance, $500,000, which was water, gas, and electric. That it can be used to help pay. Rental assistance, $500,000, which is a help resident with financial housing challenges. Home improvement, $200,000, which is to enhance the living condition of residents. Internet access, public housing, low moderate income, senior centers, which is $50,000. Ensuring connectivity with skills and training, job training, $250,000. Empowering residents with skills and training, park safety improvement, $350,000. Block club, $40,000. Fostering community engagement, nonprofit small business grant, $112,882. Churches, internet access, $30,000. Small business loans, $70,000. Community gardens, $12,882. So I think, as Commissioner Seat said, let somebody tell them how to be used. This was in the article that the mayor said June 21st, June the 2nd, 2021, how it was proposed to be used. Then I seen another article that's saying it's being utilized, which had a list of a lot of stuff I named that is being utilized. And we know a lot of these things that I named, and that's just some of the things, have not been used for these purposes. Most of these that's directly helping the resident. So I said take that $25,000, help the resident and resident relief, home improvement, internet, open 200 pop for that job training that is saved, and the armory for a community center, senior centers, and a whole lot of other things. It's a lot of things. This money was given 3 years ago. It shouldn't be no last minute. It should have been already planned what we're gonna do. But here's a list of proposed things that was supposed to be doing, and also a list that said it was being utilized already. So, thank you.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
This as a point of housekeeping. And this is to us. There's a lot of stuff going through public safety and public works. Should have went to another committee, but I'll leave that be. Because we have this right committee thing that we got going. So I'll leave that there. $25,000 is not a lot of money. I hate to say it like that. In government affairs, that's not a lot of money when you're taking $25,000 to get $2 million. Right? If you read the resolution, it says that we're going to give $25,000 to get $2 million for this park that is needed and very much necessary. The only thing that my hope is, I do support it because another area being developed, nice park for kids, whoever, but we're not going to privatize. This park will not be privatized. I want to say that again. This park will not be privatized. This is going to be a city park for the city residents, whoever else comes over. It's like every other park. But I cannot support this being privatized or any other entity but city residents or the city of Benton Harbor for usage. Where the dialysis center was, just give a little bit of history, that was supposed to be park property. Where the dialysis center was, I think that correct history or not, then they traded us another parcel because that was deemed to be a park. That was during the Mayor Hightower, I believe, days.
Emergency manager.
Emergency manager with, emergency manager gave that property in exchange for another parcel that was supposed to be a park. So that property down there was supposed to be a park. Only thing I'm saying is, we're spending $25,000 to get a $2 million park. Let's keep it moving and let's keep going. Maybe we'll get another $25,000 from somewhere, put up another park, or fix another park, or get other parks operational Because our kids do face challenges for recreation in certain areas. And sometimes it's, you might want to go over there and fish, do whatever you want to do. I'm not with privatizing. I want to make that public. I don't want this not to be a private park. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
Yes, and I want to just camel back off of the pro tem statements and just speak to what was said by the gentlelady of the Fourth Ward. The proposed ARPA budget had hundreds of thousands for parks. Because one of the things in the ARPA training that I received at the United States Council of Mayors, beautifying parks and cleaning up public space is a promotion, and it engenders better health. And that was part of the ARPA allocation. Eligibility was to promote public health through the beautification and cleaning up of public property and space. So as we moved throughout the allocation process, we didn't have to use ARPA funds to beautify parks because Whirlpool Corporation stepped up and said, we'll spend $700,000 to redo Union. We'll give $600,000 to redo Nile June Woods Park. We will use, or now we're looking at redoing the Yarborough Park. And then we got $1 million to start phase 1 of Hall Park. And then we just applied for another $1 million through Barron County Foundation for Gene Clark Park. So that allowed for us to free up and use the ARPA funds in other areas. But in this particular case, this currently is not a park. Only the city of Benton Harbor can designate park status or municipality. So in us partnering and participating with just $25,000 to a $2 million development, this allows for the public space and public access to that property where you'll have signage. I heard one of the residents talk about we need a better space for fishing. Well, we already factored in that boating and fishing is over a $20 million industry in Southwest Michigan, and we want to improve the fishing scenery in space and place for Benton Harbor residents and for those that want to come fish. And that would be a perfect prime place where it'll be beautiful, it'll be clean, and people can come and enjoy and fish, along with other activities. If you look at the map, you see food trucks. So this is just a great opportunity for the city of Benton Harbor to again partner with our stakeholders and partners to beautify a parcel in an area that, quite frankly, the city of Benton Harbor does not have the money to do. So we have to partner and work with others in order to rebuild and rehabilitate Benton Harbor. Chair recognizes the Second Ward Commissioners. Warren.
So I agree. I mean, when you look at the $2 million price tag, $25,000 that we contribute is only a little over 1%. And it's a great opportunity for the residents of Benton Harbor to have additional recreation space. The mayor mentioned fishing. I agree with that. So I think it's a great opportunity at a low cost for the city. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. I had this conversation before, and I'm gonna say it again. This is a good project for them. There's a housing complex that's right, the park is right in the front door. But it's a good thing because it's our land, belongs to us, and there's other opportunities to make money. It's an economic development, waterfront. But these plans are very vague. They don't show us much, and they didn't tell us much. I think fishing is a great idea, but they didn't indicate that there was any fishing here. They have not given us a real complete plan. But I'll go back to when they sold the mitigation property for the dialysis. Now, we're in trouble with DNR. We're in trouble with them because we sold the property. And it did come from the commission. It didn't come, the city, the financial manager didn't do it. We did it. And we knew that it was mitigated property. They got 22 acres of prime dune land. And they gave us that property, which was contaminated. And that's why we sold it. Because it could never be a park. But we're in trouble with DNA and they don't want to help us unless we fix it. We've been trying to fix it since 2018. And we never found the value of 22 pristine acres on the dunes. We haven't found the value except now. Riverfront property is very valuable. We can, and Whirlpool has evidently created a plan. I would like to see the city submit the plan to DNR as mitigated property. Now we're out of the hole with DNR. They'll help us work with the other parks. We got 10 other parks to do. Cornerstone is gonna do one a year. We got 10 other parks. So my thought is to really make this a win-win situation. We get our park, we get out of DNR's bad feelings. It's a win-win situation for me to see it. I'd like to also to make sure that the residents know that this has access. So some great signs put up all to let people know that this is a city park. And in all the years we've been talking to the state, connectivity was the conversation. How do we connect up? Now on the other side, we got $1 million bridge, walkway. It goes over to the hotel in Harbor Shores. $1 million. That's really connecting. But what do we have connect on this side to this park? The connection is not there. I would like to see the connection there. Otherwise, I think we could take $25,000 and go to one of our neighborhood parks, sand the rust off the swings and repaint them. And that's better because we have no plan yet to do the plan, to do the parks, except wait on Whirlpool to do their thing. We have to do for ourselves, and we have to make sure that we have avenues to do for ourselves. This is a win-win situation for us. We get out of problems with DNA, they help us with our other 10 parks, and we also make Whirlpool accountable to us to tell us details, because this is not detailed. And my last question would be, why is this such an important, is there a time frame? Why it went to the committee that it did? And is there a time frame? Is there a reason why we saw this past presentation Wednesday and we're voting on it today? So that's my last question to the chair. Why is this time happening? Why is it happening now? And is it a reason why it came to a committee that didn't have any authority to do anything with Parks and Recs?
So number one, this is not a park. This is not a park. And we don't own the land.
Wait a minute, we do own the land. You got it all wrong. This land belongs to us. And it's a big, huge piece of land. You can sell it.
Are you sure?
I went on the Berrien County, and it says it belongs to Benton Harbor. The same way that the water plant belongs to Benton Harbor, but it's been taken out of DNR authority. So yes, I see there's something going on. It's called skullduggery, and I want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and the future of Benton Harbor. There's something going on here that's not right. So you're saying we don't own it. When did we sell it?
Mr. Cook?
So, I'll come up. There is property adjacent to the Plaza project that is before you tonight. That is part of the mitigation pathway, and that's where that sidewalk is that runs from Riverview Drive to the bridge. The property to the south of that runs from the mitigation strip to the river is owned by Harbor Shores and was acquired as part of the land acquisition that was done for the entirety of the Harbor Shores project back 15 years ago or so.
Oh.
In 2005.
Yes.
Without Vaseline.
So does that clear up some?
That really clears it up, and it gives me another reason to make sure that Harbor Shores and Whirlpool take care of your plaza. It's not a park now, it's a plaza.
It's a plaza that will serve as a park. It just won't be a city, in quotes, park. It will be public. It must be public for us to receive the funding that we're to get from MEDC. So that is part of the requirements, and it's something that we want to do anyway, make it public for the residents of Benton Harbor.
There's no connectivity at all to this project, and it's so vague. Now I'm hearing it's a plaza instead of a park. I'm hearing things that I never heard before. So transparency is not happening now. It came to us on Wednesday and we're voting on it today with no transparency, no details to what is going to be here.
Honorable Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
and Commissioners, I just want to kind of add here a little bit of context. So when we broke ground to Imogene Ho Flats 4 years ago, over 4 years ago now, we made a commitment to the city that one of the things we wanted to make sure that we were going to do with this development project was a development of the shipping canal. We wanted to make sure that the shipping canal was still going to be accessible and available to the residents to continue fishing and just really being able to enjoy that outdoor green space. Now, it has happened a little sooner because we have the opportunity to leverage the MEDC grant and some other funding sources. So the plan was to develop this space. It's happening a little bit sooner than we had anticipated. And so we're asking the city to join us in partnership to develop the space. So I just want to address a couple of comments you made, Commissioner Henry. Those are just renderings, proposed renderings. When we met with interim city manager, Mr. Little, when Chris and I met with him, one of the things we wanted to make sure that we did was we were making a recommendation and a proposal of what the plaza could potentially look like in a reimagined state. But what we didn't say is we are committing to what you see is what it will be. We wanted your voices to be a part of what it will be imagined to be. So very similar to the Imogene Ho Flats process, we plan to come before you and we plan to share the progress and to get your input on what you would like to see in the plaza in the design phase. So what you see is a rendering, it's a reimagination, but it's not etched in stone. It's the beginning stages of what the possibilities can be if you can look at the current state of the space and what the possibilities can become.
Because as it stands right now, it's just
green space. It's green spaces and it's unattractive. And I think what it does, it creates a level of complexity
because the perception in the mind is, oh, well, the apartments are there and it's not for us. And it still is available to the general public. And we just wanted to beautify it so that it's more accessible and it's being used even more for families and outdoor activities and gatherings and different things like that.
What's the allocation from the state, the participation from the state government?
$1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million.
And so the timeliness of that is just like you're required to spend ARPA money by this October, this MEDC money has to be spent, committed by year end. And so that's why things have been expedited and ramped up here.
Right. And in speaking with the chair, Quentin Messenger, he assured me that all monies that can be allocated and sent to Benton Harbor would be. And at the time, he didn't say what it all would be or what area, but he just said that Benton Harbor is near and dear. And the state is committed, beyond just lead lines, to making sure that Benton Harbor gets the resources, gets the funding to make it a better municipality and city. And this is what I see in what's being presented tonight. I do want to recognize Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Again, I don't have a problem with it, but again, and I don't know if it's a management thing. Well, it's two-part. Number one, Harbor Shores is a lease agreement, right? It's not an ownership agreement, is it?
We have ownership of this particular property. We have a lease agreement within Gene Clark Park.
So when was this parcel sold? Because all the other property was a lease agreement. And so is there other parcels that we need to know that you got acquired as far as by purchase? And if it is, could you provide a list?
I can provide a list. There were probably in excess of 100 parcels that were assembled to build the golf course and some of our development.
I'm not talking about the total development. I'm talking about the ones that were purchased and not leased. Because you guys purchased one from St. Joe for, I think it was like $200,000 or $300,000 and gave us probably about $70,000 for everything we got. The other factor is that I want to make sure, because this also looks like, is this going to coincide with some dredging? Because the other side of the river, or the other side of the canal, looks nothing like that. And I've gotten a lot of concerns and a lot of things have been said about the other side of that canal because it looks nothing like that. So is it going to be dredging done? Is it going to be something to clean up? Because in the summertime, it looks like a swamp area in the water. I'm not talking about on the grass lines. I'm talking about in the water, it looks like a swamp. And you can barely get a boat down there in certain areas because you got so much debris, so many trees down, and all kinds of other things in that small canal right there. So is there a plan for dredging or a cleanup for the waterfront on both sides? And it's good to fix the park. If you don't do anything with that waterfront or the water right there, that waterway, to clean it out some, I don't know how beneficial it's going to be to put, say you're going to have boats coming out of there and docks. And right now, the way it stands, you can't put docks and all that stuff where it's at right now. So something has to happen.
Sure. It's required to be a deep water channel, and we intend to make it that. And our project will be limited, though, to this side of that ship canal. We are not going onto the other side where it's all private property that we don't control. But we are going along the water's edge, cleaning that up, and making sure that the depths are appropriate to bring in. It'll be smaller boats, but still boats nevertheless.
So has that been already approved by the DNR or federal government, the waterways, to dig in that water?
It has not. We have to get permits.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Warren. So we did last meeting commit, I believe it was 10,000. for dredging.
Okay.
But I mean, that's part of, you know, another conversation because we're responsible for that. But this is the beginning stages. And I think that the conversation has been started. What's in front of us tonight is the city of Benton Harbor, our participation. Because it's the partnership between the two in order to get the $1 million from the state. The city has put, you know, 25,000, I think. Commissioner Warren, thank you for less than 1%, or 1% is our portion added. But as far as, you know, the dot to dot and the, you know, making it what it will be, you know, this is the beginning stages. But tonight, the city is just committing to making it better than what it is, what we're currently looking at, and making it useful land. Right now it's wasteland, but making it useful land to the residents and to the community. That's what's in front of us tonight, is the city of Benton Harbor going to participate in this effort to beautify this area. And all of the details and schematics and measurings and all of those things and input, community meetings will come forth. But if we don't make a commitment, then, you know, now the funding is compromised. How much is Harbor Shores committed?
We haven't specified an amount yet, but when the city contributes to a project like this, I think it only helps us generate other people that want to contribute to the project. So I can say tonight, without even thinking about it, that Harbor Shores would commit to equal yours.
Thank you. Well, there you have it.
Mayor, I just want to make another statement. When you come up, now this memo is totally incorrect. So if it's a plaza or it's a park, you got to make your mind up. Is it a plaza or a park? Two memo here. So my question is, with $25,000 out of the general fund or ARPA money, we just did 800,000 for ARPA. It's a little over 100,000 left. We take 25 out of it, it's gonna really drop our budget down. Harbor Shores has gotten over like a fat cat all of these years, and I don't think that $25,000 of our hard-earned money will stop this project one time, because it's to benefit everyone, especially the people that are in your apartment complex. Especially, that's right at their front door. So I just can't see us taking our hard-earned money that we have problems. We just had a conversation about the general fund. Harbor Shores, Whirlpool can bite the bullet and do this for the city. And we don't have to worry. We can take our money and hire a part-time person. Something that we need. Our priorities, where we spend our money, should be where it benefits the people. ARPA has had some changes made. They have a new internal final rule, and it allows loans and public jobs and a whole lot of things that we as residents need. That just came out, but it's a new one, internal final rules. And it allows us to use the human infrastructure to spend that money on. So if we're gonna take the last 100,000 and give it to Cornerstone or Whirlpool's job,
This is 25,000.
25,000, they asked for 350,000.
That's not true. This is,
Or
I'm
asked the city, if it came out of the city manager's
gonna read,
mouth.
I'm gonna read the resolution.
No, you don't need the resolution.
It reads, whereas the
Because you
city of
can't
Ben
say that
Harbor has
they asked for 350,000, that's what the city manager told us in the meeting.
Whereas the city of Ben Harbor has the opportunity to participate in the development of a new public waterfront park just off downtown, bordered by the Ship Canal and the Paw Paw River around the Imogene Hull Flats Village. Whereas consistent with the planning for the riverfront harbor development, this project will contribute greatly to the longer range development objectives of the city and benefit the citizens of Ben Harbor as well as visitors. And whereas this project will contribute greatly to the beauty, the appearance of positive growth and development, perhaps result in greater private investment and development in the city. Whereas along with the contributions from Harbor Shores and Cornerstone, 350,000 is also being sought from Berrien County. And now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city commission of the city of Ben Harbor does hereby approve contributing 25,000 from its remaining ARPA funds to be made available immediately to support the $2 million Paw Paw Plaza project on Benton Harbor's waterfront. That's what's in front of us tonight.
Can we amend the resolution to take out the word, park, put development? Or project? Because the way it reads now, it says that this is gonna be part of the park system. Front page here. It says, the impact over time will significantly improve the waterfront development and its parks program. It's referred to as park, or Canoe Park. And there's parks throughout here. I would just ask that we just take out the park and put new project.
I have no objection.
It's part of our park system. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
I'd like to make a motion.
Whoa. Madam Clerk, did you make that, change?
Yes, noted.
Thank you.
Can one commissioner ask to change something and you change it? Tell me what's up with that.
It would be a part of the overall vote.
I wanna change something, you think I can change it, and then you can vote for it? I make a motion that we ask staff to submit this plan, project, park, plaza, whatever it truly is, to DNR. for
That's
me.
a totally separate.
Now, that, if
That's
you
not
don't,
an
you don't,
amendment. That's not an amendment. That's not an amendment. That's an entire different project, which would have to be an entire different agenda item vetted, sent to committee.
this is part of this project.
An amendment is not changing the entire
Go on, Mayor.
agenda item.
I just want you to correct all of these things on this memo for the clerk.
The resolution is what was to be amended. A memo is just FYI, public information,
It's not even
explanation,
public information, Mayor.
context. But the resolution is what we vote on, not the memo.
Okay, then, it's, could we also get Harbor Shores to let us know how many grants they got?
That has nothing to do with the
No,
resolution.
no.
Nothing to do with the resolution.
It does have something to do with the resolution. They're asking us to spend this government money. It has something to do with it.
Not what we're voting on.
Yes, it does.
Commissioner, we're voting on the language, not
I know
adding
what we're
stuff.
voting on. I'm asking them.
Pro
to
tem
supply
amendment
us
and adding a
with-
word.
Asking them through the chair to supply us. They wanna vote. You want me to vote yes? I need to know how much money you did apply for and how much you got. Since you want us to take 49% citizens that are below the poverty lane and give them 25,000. I remember when poor little Avamarch gave us $2,000 for the parks. We thought that was horrible. Now you're asking us to do this. I'm asking for it to be a rank different.
then you need to bring an agenda item to be vetted.
Let's call for the vote and let the people see
Madam
how you
Clerk.
voted. Call for the vote, let the people see.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
No,
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
No.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
No.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes,
Motion carried.
this brings us to staff comment. Chair recognizes our Deputy Director of Public Safety, Deputy Clark.
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Chair recognizes City Attorney Seneca.
I do not have anything to report.
Chair recognizes City Clerk Moore.
I also have nothing to report.
Chair recognizes the City Manager, Manager Little.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make one point. I began 2 weeks before Wednesday meeting with commissioners in groups of 2 so that I could, and I had an agenda of about 8 different items, basically so that I could share development on different things that were taking place and answer any questions that any of the commissioners had. Questions that we wouldn't have time to deal with in a meeting of this nature. Most of the commissioners came, but the ones that have been raising all the issues tonight did not come. They did not meet. And as a consequence, this is what's happening. As far as why it went to one committee versus the other, every one of you know that all of these projects and so forth, I'm basically handling them by myself. And when it gets to the point where it's ready to go, it's ready to go. I can't sit and wait 3 weeks or a month before I can take it before what you might feel is right committee. We need to move these things.
Any other comments, Mr. Manager? Chair recognizes Commissioner Kennard.
I'd like to say that I sat on the other side and I saw so much happening. And my heart is heavy most of the time from what I see. There's very little transparency in the way I see things is being conducted. It's not in the proper order as to what I'm seeing that is, they tell me that you can't do this, you can't do that. But then on certain circumstances, they do just what they say we can't do. One of the things they say, Brad Moran is a finance director. Well, I've told you over and over, and you can do your research yourself, they're not. They're a consultant, but they're not a finance director. Some of the things that they're doing here, like I said, we get a snow job. When that snow go to melting, you see all the trash that's under that snow. And then you begin to realize we got a real mess. One of the things we need is someone here to track every dollar we got. The money is when it flies up, that we got to do this, that, or the other. It's always at the last minute. Regardless of when you call us, you're working for us, the city, who we represent. And you call us in the form of who you want. I'll call these two. Why not call us all together? We all are commissioners. So that was one of the reasons that I did not come, because I feel that you're gonna separate us and see how this too works. And they know the puppet master always knows his puppets. So that is one of the reasons why I did not make my appearance there. And I want to be clear that we're supposed to be working together. So we all supposed to get the same information. And the way we do that is that we all come together. When we come and you have a conversation for us. Thank you. Thank you all.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Clark Griffin.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. And just to address Mr. Little staff, when do the employee tell the employers what to do? And you're talking about meetings, since you want to address us. What about all the other unanswered questions we got? You haven't answered. So please, let's know our place. And then I like to thank Mr. Shaquille Turner. On February 20th, it was a letter sent out that I know I didn't know about it, and some other commissioners didn't. And on that letter, it says it was on March the 19th, Mr. Little responded as acting city manager, but we didn't vote until April the 1st, and it was March the 19th. Okay, for the resolution tonight, both said internal city manager and planning economic director. He's still doing both, which cannot be. He's not supposed to be doing both. I still haven't seen a job search. Another thing is, the mayor always is trying to gaslight me and Commissioner Kennard, me and Commissioner Henry, because we don't always agree, because we're for the right and we're trying to be transparent with the resident, when he's not politically correct himself. I stand on whatever I say, 10 toes. I know, I research, I got knowledge, I have education in some of these fields and experience. So I don't speak what I don't know. Also, Ben Harbor, y'all need to stay woke. I just want y'all to stay woke. Stay woke. Watch the money. They selling us out. They're giving away our money to everybody but the residents. Stay woke. Pay attention. It's been a lot of lies, deceit, corruption going on.
Amen.
It's a lot of rehearsed stuff going on. A lot of calls was made this morning. A lot of rehearsal going on. A lot of pencil whipping going on. You can write what you want. I did audits. I always did fair. But when they say this is that and that, you can write. It's a lot of pencil whipping going on. Pay attention. Watch the money. Come to the meeting. Hold people accountable. Fight for what's yours. The opera money was sent for the residents. And I named just some of the things that the mayor proposed in that article that was going to be used for. I also named some of the things that it said in another article that was being utilized for, which we know a lot of it was not. Pay attention. I stand on what I say. And I know I mean what I say. And I say what I mean. And I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. And I don't care if whoever don't like me, because when they say a lot of things, it be towards me. But I don't care. I'm standing for what's right. And whoever you don't have to like me, but you will respect me. Have a good night.
Thank you for your comments. The chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
I sit here with a heavy heart when I see how the government spend your money and you get nothing in return. How hard we had to fight just for them to give you a reprieve on your water bill. And it was a hard fight just to get money that was given to us to do just that. And it was a win-win situation because the government, the general fund got money, the water payment got money, and the citizens got a credit or some of their account paid. That was a hard do to get 9 African Americans to save a whole bunch of other African Americans in the community. And if you go back and look at the minutes or you look at the YouTube, you'll see how they voted and what they said. So until we as people come together and organize and figure out what we want as a people and what we need as a people, and then you come to this place and you make us do what you need. Make us spend the money that's going to benefit you. If it's for jobs and training, what we've been asking for 30 years. Look, it's just heavy-hearted to see us not take care of our own people, special people. And when I think about how the Bible and the Quran tell us how to act, and then we do not do that by taking care of the sick, the homeless stuff. We do not do anything for our people. But when Cornerstone or Whirlpool come, it's always a yes, no matter what they ask for. Disheartening that we will not prioritize our spending to our people's needs. And I'm asking everybody to come to the meeting on Wednesday, Personnel and Finance, and find out what the process is and how it works to look for a city manager. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Warren.
Thank you. I want to take a little bit of my time and talk about some of the positive things going on in the community. The first thing I want to talk about is the Boys and Girls Club. We have a very robust program for middle schoolers for workforce development. Last summer was our first summer being able to pay our youth, and we're going to be doing the same thing again this summer. We're going to be focusing on STEM, so I'm very excited about that. So we'll have 11 through 14-year-olds who typically are too young to have a regular job. They'll be able to go to my STEM program, and they'll be able to get paid a stipend. So that's pretty exciting. And a couple other things we're going to do this summer is we're going to be able to place some youth at our farmers market, and the Boys and Girls Club will be paying for that. And I'm going to speak with Mr. Little because I want to see if we can have a couple of kids clean up the beach. And again, that will be paid for by the Boys and Girls Club, but our youth get some experience. So I'm pretty excited about that. I wanted to also remind everyone about my town hall meeting for the second ward. That'll be May 14th at 5:30. I'll be doing some giveaways because I want everybody to come and give their input so we can work on things in our second ward. Oh, I want to give a shout out to, I don't think he's here anymore, Mr. Richard Rabers. He went around and helped pick up some of the bottles for recycling. So we appreciate that. Every little bit helps. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner of the First Ward, Commissioner Henderson.
All right, thank you, Honorable Mayor. Just like to thank the residents for coming out. Tonight there was a lot on our agenda. There was a lot said, and I just like to thank you all for sticking around and listening to what's happening in our community. In spite of some of the differences that we have, for the most part, each one of us was elected because we love and care about our communities. How we go about taking care of that, it may be different, but each one of us, all 9 of us, we were elected because we love and care about our community and want to see it prosper, want to see it move forward, even though we may have a different apparatus and use different methods and resources to do so. Our general unity is around improving the city of Benton Harbor. With that said, there's a lot happening in our community. We have new housing slated for the city of Benton Harbor. We have new roads that we haven't had in hundreds of years. We have new infrastructure happening within our water system in spite of how that happened, and just really a lot of positive things. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. How we go about getting those things done, there is debate around those things. There is a method and there is a way that debate should happen without vitriol, without the personal attacks, without the personal inferences that it's about me. Because at the end of the day, it's about this community and how we move it forward. And I think that's what the residents look for us to be able to do as 9 elected officials. I may disagree about things with my commissioners, but there's not one single one of them that I dislike. And I don't have any vitriol in my heart against them where I wish them ill. I would partner and work with anybody to get anything done, as long as it's for our residents, irregardless to how people feel, because at the end of the day, it's how they feel. And we cannot change that. But for the most part, we want to move the city of Benton Harbor forward. And I talked about doing a town hall. It was supposed to be April 25th, but it'll be April 23rd. I have a class on Thursday nights, so I'm not able to do it on that Thursday, but I'll be getting this out on Facebook. We'll be doing a town hall at the Boys and Girls Club, particularly the Teen Center, on Tuesday, April the 23rd from 6 to 7:30. So come out and we'll be able to discuss. I have somebody coming that'll be talking about some of the things that is happening, new ordinances, some of the city projects that we talked about tonight, and to discuss any ideas and opportunities that any first world residents have. So have a great evening, and thank you again for those who serve on committees. You don't have to do that. You choose to serve our community just like us because you love it. And so thank you, and I hope that service continues.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner at Large Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Pretty much a lot of stuff been said. Public safety, we just, we didn't have a meeting. There were some things that was on the agenda that came through there. I did, say, okay, but I understood, the timeless of things. But some of the other stuff that we talked about was the public works part of it. We're trying to get city cleaned up. So there's some things that's been talked about, thinking outside the box, possibility of using volunteer help, community service people to do some things, even the work release people who owe the debt to the community for some trouble they got into, and they want to make it right, to work in the community to do some things. So we know that, money is tight, we just seen that tonight. So we got to think of other ways to do things. The leaf pickup that started, and a lot of people didn't know that you couldn't, the landfill don't take leaves until April. It's a period of time between April and I think the first or second week in December where they accept the yard debris. After that, they don't accept it. I think we talked about doing a better job of communicating with the residents to let them know that, so those bags won't be sitting out, all those weeks, with somebody, waiting for them to get picked up. So I think if they have a better understanding of what time and why it's that time, they would probably be more conscious about sitting. I don't like picking them up twice either. Summertime, activities pick up. We just ask that everybody be vigilant and help our kids be safe. We got to start talking to them. And let them know that it's a different way of doing things. And I think with a lot of the activities and things that's going on, parks, Boys and Girls Club, schools doing things. When I heard about the park, I thought about, that's another opportunity for families, to get together and, spend some time together. So I do believe that once, folks start socializing more together and getting to know each other and doing things positive that's in common with each other, that they get along better and start looking out. We get back to that neighborhood type of, what is it, the village raised the child, I think we'll get back to that. Somebody told me that if kids learn, how to play together, work together, that as they get older, they be less likely to do some harm to each other. So, lastly, a lot of folks that I've been talking to out in the community, just a few seconds, trying to think a little bit better about my health. And And so I've been doing a lot of walking and going door to door talking to folks. And I would say 90-some% of the folks are satisfied with where things are going. Can things be better? Yes, but they see some big improvement.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Ice.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and for all the presentations that we had from Eagle about the water being safe and drink it, and all the good things that's happening to the city with the lead line replacement. Avonmark's updated website, working on that. Go around all the construction, it's easy to get to. County Commissioner Yarborough for the update about the elections and how people get jobs. I ain't gonna ask you that right now, but I ask you that afterwards, could I get a job, but the opera phones, yes. We spent down that money. Major part went to revenue loss. We had revenue loss this year, last year, 2.7 in utility assistance, 2.7 million for the people, for the residents. For the water assistance, 2.7 million for the people. Revenue loss to help build up the general fund, ensure the utility fund was full. Opera funds, hash truck, wood chipper, street sweeper, cameras, upgrade all this in here for the people that see us on YouTube. How you doing? Cloud-based, upgrade cameras for the police, laptops. So the opera fund's been moving. It helps help the residents, it helped us as a city to move forward with the revenue loss, and with this $800,000 is going to help us move forward some more. I'm asking, one thing I did notice about being in the city, all the leaves, people rake leaves in the streets. So I was talking to Manager Little about a vacuum truck, a vacuum trailer. You can go down the street, suck them up, reuse them. What you call that, Mr. Bernard? Compost. Ideas, thinking. Because it leaves all in the street. So you have to work together. It's good to see my neighbor. She did a great job in this house across the street from me. I got new neighbors. It's a beautified community. Thank you so much. See Booker right there. House rehab. And plus the street, Hastings, they've got new sidewalks. Walk down sidewalks, and it's right next door to Empire. Last night they had NASCAR out there. I'm telling you, the engines are raring up. I don't know what they doing, but it is really loud. So, we gotta, and I can imagine when they fix, we get Empire repaired. I don't know, public safety noticed it. I'm sure they do, because I heard sirens going off. But it's just unbelievable how fast people are driving. So I'm just asking, before you pull out, when the light is green, I think you better wait for at least 2 to 3 seconds, because people run lights and stop signs. Thank you for listening. Expect great things, Bernard. It's happening. It's happening. Get that smile going. It's happening. God bless you. Detroit Lions.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
You didn't put the 2 minutes on him until after about 20 up. A little favoritism going on there. Quick. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for what you do for the city of Benton Harbor. We don't have no comments. I mean, you can look out here and see what's going on. You got new streets, new roads, you got new development everywhere. We got money coming to us that we never would have got before. It's starting to hit the banks of Benton Harbor. I would like to just suggest to everybody the fact that during the emergency manager, we didn't have anything happening. I mean, we didn't even have cell phones, didn't have office space. And to see how far we've come to this day, we got out of emergency management quicker than everybody thought we would. we got more lead lines removed than anybody ever could imagine we would. The streets are being beautified and the sewer lines are being fixed, and we just got millions of dollars to do that. Again, it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, but it's another thing to get something done. The residents need to have something done. I was driving down Bellevue today, looking at the property that once was, but now it is nothing. I got one thing I want to say, but I'm grateful to God that we're getting the road on Columbus. But they have torn up everything all the way up to the doorstep. So people think we're shut down. Remarkably, I think that should have happened with the conversation instead of just a dictation. Because on Easter, if your whole frontage is gone, poles up, somebody gonna take you out of business, even though they see the cars in the parking lot. So I would just ask that that situation get remedied pretty quick, because nobody wants to wear brand new Stacy's walking through dust, dirt, debris, and rocks. And it's unsafe for women with heels on to have that unsafe structure, unsafe footing. And then know that if somebody does slip and fall, whose insurance is gonna pay for it. So I'm grateful to have beautiful sidewalks and beautiful streets. And I would also ask the police chief to do something. I was talking to a gentleman who has some street signs that light up almost like the police is coming if they go over a certain speed limit. And it also keeps record and keeps track. He'll be doing a presentation during the next community economic development meeting. We have to do something on these roads where they don't have stop signs. And they're taking off from Empire all the way to Britain. I'm sorry. And kids go out there. Kids cross the street. The animals cross the street. Humans cross the street. And they are flying. Maybe we need to set up speed traps. I would rather somebody get a ticket than a kid die. And I hate to say it, but they're two-lane in it. They're getting on one side and somebody getting on the other, and they're beaming. And it's unsafe. And I do want to thank this commission for all that you do, your hard work, determination, and thank you for your representation. Mr. Little, I want to say to you, a few weeks on the job, I want to say you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all the City Council for their comments and the public for participating, the presentations, Commissioner Yarbrough for your update. There's a lot going on in the city of Benton Harbor, which is tremendous transition. We have millions of dollars in projects on the agenda. We have at the Mercy Property Project T, 79 units, I believe 38 homes, duplexes, daycare center, 55 units, grocery store, social service offices right here on the corner of Wall Street. There is a ribbon cutting for the Coel Health coming up center downtown Benton Harbor, which was just vacant for, Whirlpool had no longer had activity in that building, but millions have been invested right there. There's untold amount of money that's coming to the city of Benton Harbor. Just mentioned 19.6 million to fix some of the sewers that have been messed up for years. But we're finally getting the money that many mayors and city council people wished that we could have, or they could have had the money that's coming in Benton Harbor right now. And it'll be more. And I think we just have to continue to work in an imperfect system called democracy to try and do what's best for the whole, which means that a little group or 30 residents or this over here, we have to think for the whole. Residents first, but we have those people who are investing. You know, people want to see beautification of parks. They want to see businesses. They want to see development and activity because that breeds activity. You know, Ella Fitzgerald had a song, I got plenty of nothing, and nothing is plenty for me. If we don't think in a creative and innovative way and embrace, you know, ideas and partnerships and work with other people, Benton Harbor will never get nothing. We have to work with other people of all walks of life in order to rebuild Benton Harbor. It's not going to be what it was.
Thank God.
It is not going to remain as it is. But we all have to contribute in the days of, you know, Benton Harbor. We just want to just give us something. We're not going to participate. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. So we have to contribute. We can't just get, we have to contribute, and we have to be a part actively of the transformation and the change that you see happening in Benton Harbor. So as far as the city manager, Alex Little is the interim city manager. A resolution was passed, and that he will remain the interim city manager until a search and or a permanent manager is hired. That's the resolution publicly. So we are going to honor that, but we're not going to be bullied, and we're not going to have a group over here, a group over there that want to control the process. They want to benefit from the process and control the outcome. It's not going to happen. We're going to work with the public. We're going to keep everybody informed. You know, we're going to be transparent. But the bully pulpit is not going to work.
That's where it is.
So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Y'all bullies.
Madam Clerk.
Y'all bullies.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
It's okay.